As far as accuracy wise, I'm going with Tua all day.
On this episode of the Red and Gold Report, we're going to be looking at the recent claims that former Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Tyreek Hill has been making on his brand new podcast and whether he has lost his ever-loving mind. We're also going to be asking the profound question of why in the world is he doing this? So I was on vacation for a while and I left my phone off to just disconnect from the world. And wow, when I turned it back on, the Chiefs Kingdom Online was buzzing with this crazy podcast interview Tyreek Hill recently did. So apparently Tyreek, who was of course traded to Miami earlier this offseason, started a podcast called It Needed to Be Said. And hey, real quick, as we're getting into this mess, make sure you hit the subscribe button to subscribe to the channel on YouTube, hit the like button, notification bell, all that good stuff. But yeah, this podcast that Hill started was about as dumb as you would imagine it would be. On this podcast, just the first episode, Tyreek made two claims that enraged Chiefs fans. First, he claimed that he was underused in Kansas City. He said, and I quote, "And that's where, probably like me and the Chiefs, fell apart right there. When I'm like, yo, I don't mean to talk or be a diva in some situation, but can I see the pill sometime, please? Just give me the ball, please." And second, he claimed that Miami quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is actually a more accurate passer than Patrick Mahomes. He said, and I quote, "Accuracy-wise, I'm going with Tua all day." So let's examine whether these two statements are true, shall we? First, is Tyreek's his claim that he was underused in KC, meaning he didn't get the ball, or as he said it, he didn't get the pill enough. Is this true? Did he not get enough targets last year in KC? Well, fact checker says this is absolutely false. I mean, it's patently, provably, insanely false. Let me throw some numbers at you. In 2021, Tyreek Hill was targeted 159 times. For context, that was the most targets of any year in his career. It was actually 24 more targets than he had the previous year in 2020. It was also the most of anyone on the team last year. He even had 25 more targets than Travis Kelce. This also included 10 games with double-digit targets in 2021 for Tyreek, and he finished 7th. Yes, 7th in the entire NFL in targets. And the Chiefs targeted him this much, even though opposing defenses, they were clearly trying to scheme away his deep threat capability. And even though, according to PFF, well, Tyreek dropped 10 passes last year that he shouldn't have, which was the most of any year in his career. And all of this means that 25 of the 32 teams in the NFL made less of an effort to get their top wide receiver the ball than the Chiefs made to get Tyreek the ball. So this claim that Tyreek's made that he wasn't targeted enough, that he didn't get the ball enough, that he was underused, it is just false. It's clearly, statistically, provably untrue. So untrue that it's laughable. But second, how about this other claim that Tyreek made, that Miami quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is a more accurate quarterback than Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes? Now, this claim is also laughable, but let's go ahead and just get into some numbers. Both Patrick and Tua have career completion percentages hovering around just a tick above 66%. But of course, that does not tell the whole story. Kansas City receivers actually dropped the ball last year more often than Miami receivers. So adjusted completion percentage, which is a more accurate depiction of how accurate a passer is, adjusted completion percentage, according to PFF, was 78.3 for Patrick and just 75.3 for Tua, meaning when you adjust for drops, actually Mahomes last year was quite a bit more accurate than Tua. But even that doesn't tell the whole story because Patrick just plain throws the ball further than Tua. For his career, Mahomes averaged, he has an average completed pass of 8.1 yards. Tua's is only 6.6, meaning Mahomes is in the top group of NFL quarterbacks for how far you throw the ball downfield, how aggressive you are, while Tua is in the bottom 10. Similarly, Patrick was third in the NFL for most passing completions of 20 or more yards last season, and at the same time, Tua came in a pedestrian 23rd. So it's not really a mystery why Tua has a career completion percentage that's similar to Patrick. Tua just refuses to throw the ball down the field. Now, that doesn't mean he's as accurate as Mahomes. It means he's less accurate, so he's playing it very safe. He's taking easy checkdowns where you and I could be kind of accurate in those situations too, which is why for both the last two off seasons, there have been all these rumors that the Dolphins are trying to replace him. Oh, and Tyreek, just a side note here, I know you love catching the deep ball, so have a blast playing for a quarterback who refuses to throw the ball down the field. So is Tua more accurate than Patrick? Well, fact checker says absolutely false again. In fact, kind of laughably false. Both of these claims that Tyreek Hill made against the Chiefs, well, in his podcast, they're laughably, ridiculously untrue, which brings me to my next question. With these so obviously untrue, why in the world did Tyreek say such false things? I mean, Mahomes and the Chiefs were supposed to be his friends, and now he's just making stuff up against them that's obviously not true. Why is he doing this? Why? Well, I think there are really two options. And I want to hear your comments in the comment section of which one of these two options or combination of these two options behind the why is he doing this, that you think it is. So first is this. Maybe Tyreek is doing this because he's actually lost his mind. Now, we've seen this happen to other high-profile wide receivers. I'm looking at you, Antonio Brown. And you can get how this diva mentality happens. You're at the top of your game, right? You know, you're getting paid so much, so you get this whole posse of friends around you, an agent around you, other support people, a PR person around you, and everyone you listen to, everyone you hang out with, everyone who speaks into your life is on your own payroll. They're all making money off you. And so they're financially incentivized to only ever say yes to you and tell you positive things about yourself, meaning that every single piece of information you're hearing in life, every bit of feedback you get, every, perspective you're hearing from other people has been sifted through a filter, and you're no longer receiving information, feedback, and perspectives that are grounded in reality. No, you're hearing this fairy tale. You're hearing something that actually sometimes contradicts reality. Now, give this a few years of time, and suddenly you lose your grip on reality altogether. We've seen this happen with actors and musicians and athletes. After years of not living in reality, of having all these people say false but positive things to them, they lose their minds. They lose their grip on reality. And maybe this is what's happening to Tyreek. Maybe he really does believe Tua is a better quarterback than Patrick. Maybe he really does believe that the Chiefs just didn't try to give him the ball enough because he's lost it. But let me deposit a second option here. What if, instead of losing his mind, this is all about making money? Let me explain. Manufactured drama produces revenue. I mean, just look at how many people watched the Johnny Depp trial, right? I mean, people love when they get to hear celebrities saying crazy things, negative things. They love when they hear celebrities take digs at other celebrities. They tune in, which creates viewership, which creates revenue. So what if Tyreek decided that he's going to start this podcast because, of course, his $120 million contract isn't enough, and he wants to start making money with this podcast thing. But there are like a million podcasts out there, so he thinks, how can I get people to listen to mine? Oh, I know, this manufactures some drama. That always works. I'll say crazy things, negative things. Oh, who should I say them against? Well, Patrick Mahomes is the biggest celebrity I know. Why don't I throw his name through the mud? So people will tune in. And you know what? If that was his plan, it worked. Clips of his podcast, which otherwise was poorly done. It was not a good podcast. They've circulated like crazy online. So what if Tyreek doesn't even believe what he's saying? What if this is a cynical, greedy, throwing the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes under the bus move, motivated by nothing more than wanting a new podcast to go viral, motivated nothing more than wanting to make even more money? But what do you think? Do you think Tyreek is losing his mind and actually believes these stupid claims? Or do you think that this is just a stunt to make money, create viewership on his podcast? Let me know in the comments below exactly what you think is going on with this. And let me leave you with just one more thought. At some point in your life, whether you're a celebrity or just a normal person like you and me, we're all going to have a moment when we're about like 85, 90 years old and we're sitting in the retirement home every night and in between bites of liquefied cabbage, we're going to be looking back on our lives. And it won't be about how much money we made, how famous we got. It won't be about our achievements. It's going to be about relationships. In our last days, we will evaluate our lives based on how we loved and were loved by family and friends. And the thing is, if you throw your friends under the bus like Tyreek Hill just did to Patrick Mahomes, if you mistreat your family and your children like Tyreek Hill has a history of doing, you're going to be consumed with regret and guilt in those last days, and it's going to be too late to change it. So, Tyreek, I hope it was all worth it. Thanks for watching the Red and Gold Report. Make sure to subscribe to this channel on YouTube, hit the little notification bell thing, and like this video. Thanks for watching, and go Chiefs!